Let's begin our time together with a story about a key. It doesn't look like much, just a useless key to a bike lock that's long gone. The bike and the lock belong to Mr. Green, and that's where I want to begin this story. We called him Mr. Green because when outreach workers from Jules Helping Hands first met him on the street, he had dyed his hair bright green. You can see him in this outreach photo. His real name was Jeremy Hendricks. None of us really know just how long Jeremy had been homeless, but it had been a while. This post on Jeremy's Facebook page sums up Jeremy's world the week before Thanksgiving of 2020. I need a place to live. I'm tired of being homeless. I get SSI $700 and some change. Anybody out there that can help me or get a room for rent, I appreciate it. That makes my Thanksgiving Christmas, and a happy one. I'm tired. I just want to leave this world altogether. It's getting old. Somebody's out there that would be willing to help me with my own room, drug-free. Contrary to popular opinion, people like Jeremy don't enjoy being homeless, and many of them have simply lost hope and have no place to go and nothing to look forward to. The homeless in our community can lose many things and survive, but hope is not one of them. When you lose hope, you begin to die. It really did impress me how as soon as you got out. I first met Jeremy, or Mr. Green, in this parking lot in January of 2021, when Julie Garcia and I spotted him here surrounded by first responders, who'd been called because someone saw him sleeping in the doorway of this business. I asked Julie if we could go back to that parking lot and talk about that day. Now, when we found him here and pulled into the parking lot, there were paramedics were here, ambulance, and it was escalating. You could kind of tell it wasn't going to end well.
Yeah.
And in fact, we saw the police drive by later, so that would have been the next step. They were in the area. But I noticed the moment you got out of the car and he saw you, he calmed down.
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
We have a relationship.
How important are relationships in working with not just the homeless in general, but people like Mr. Green who have issues? They don't know who to trust.
They're imperative. There's no other way to reach those folks. We can't force them, yelling at them, being nice to them. You have to create trust. And that's what Jules does, is create trust.
Yeah. You know, you talked to him. I loaded his stuff into the car. We took him up to the city church shelter that we were running at the time, and he maintained there for 3 months, and then went with us to the Women's Club shelter, and he maintained there for about 2 months. Why was he able to maintain so well there and not be able to fit into traditional shelters?
Because it's a mutual respect. He had respect for us, we had respect for him. We've been consistent with him throughout the years. When we see him, we help him, we talk with him, we treat him like a human. When we were here that day and I drove past and I saw him, I knew it was going to end badly because I know Mr. Green and the girl that he was with. In all of the time that I've ever taken care of Mr. Green, the day that we took him to City Church, I've never seen him stay or remain sober. And up until the day that he passed, he was still sober. And the last message that I got from Mr. Green was a message through Messenger saying, "I love you guys, see you soon." And I never heard from him again.
In mid-April of 2021, Jeremy tested positive for COVID during a routine weekly COVID test of shelter guests. Before leaving for the Immaculate Heart Isolation Facility, Jeremy came to me and said, "Here's the key to my bike lock. Could you keep it safe for me while I'm gone?" "Sure," I said. "I'll be glad to." Jeremy was taken to the Immaculate Heart Isolation Facility, where he developed full-blown COVID, lapsed into a coma, and died. There was no obituary or public memorial. His death didn't make the newspapers or TV news. We found out secondhand from someone at the isolation facility. That's what happens when you're one of the dal, one of the insignificant poor. The Hebrew Old Testament uses 5 different Hebrew words to describe those we call the poor. Why 5? Well, because poverty has many different expressions, including homelessness. One of those expressions is found in the word dal. the word used to describe the insignificant poor. Scripture doesn't see people as insignificant, but like a brutally honest mirror, it simply reflects and records how we treat them. Amazing how little has changed in 3,000 years. Like the homeless and marginalized of our own day, the dull occupy the lowest strata of society. They don't have wealth or social standing. They don't appear on anyone's social radar, except as people to be avoided, or swept up in a law enforcement sweep of homeless encampments and told to move on. We label them bums or drug addicts to give ourselves emotional permission not to see them, not to care, and to treat them as if, in the greater scheme of things, their lives don't matter, as if they are, in fact, insignificant. We might not verbalize such feelings, but we express them every day by how we treat the homeless and marginalized. People like my friend, Jeremy. After all, how we see people is the beginning of how we treat people. Let's end this story where we started it, with a bike lock key. I keep it on my keychain for several reasons. First, I keep it to remind me of my friend, Jeremy. Second, I keep it as a reminder that the lives of our homeless friends matter. They may be poor and homeless, but they are not insignificant, and they don't deserve to be treated that way. Third, I keep it as a reminder of the importance of low-barrier shelters and shelter beds, operated by service providers who understand trauma-informed care and the need to build the shalom of our community by demonstrating fearless compassion and unconditional love toward the homeless and marginalized of our city, toward real people like Jeremy. Finally, I keep it as a reminder of the many homeless individuals who, like Jeremy, have died while experiencing homelessness in the shelters and on the streets of our city. This film is dedicated to them and to my friend, Jeremy.